And welcome back, Griffin fans, to your weekly spring sports recap. I'm Charlie Sample.
And I'm Zach Blanky. Let's go ahead and cut right to baseball and look at those highlights. The baseball team played in a 3-game series against Northeastern State, but they did lose their first 2 games. However, in the third game, they ended their 13-game losing streak in the final game of the series. Gundelfinger would win it on a grand slam walk-off home run, propelling them to a 13-11 win in the final game of the series and their first MIAA win. Let's look at the scores of the 3 games. As you can see, they lost their first 2 games, very competitive in the first game, not so much in the second. As we said, they won their final game, Charlie, and 13-11 on a grand slam from Gundelfinger.
Yeah, and 2-16 on the year now. You know, not a great start to the season, and we've talked about this in the past episodes. I think their heads are down right now. You know, the team's a little demotivated, but now you use that. You use that win. Yep. Gundelfinger with the grand slam. I think it's good to just not keep the head down and keep motivated and keep going.
Yeah, and forgot to mention, they did play Maryville after this game. They lost 7-8. They were competitive, but they did lose again. Hopefully they can pick it back up where they left off with Gundelfinger getting that home run to win it.
Yeah, now let's look at softball. So looking into softball now, March 12th, the softball team was set to play Upper Iowa, but the games were postponed. And after 21 games into the season, softball finally had their home opener and doubleheader on March 13th against the number 6 team in the country, Rogers State. Rogers State came into this doubleheader 17-4 after just losing their 16-game win streak to Washburn. And Missouri Western headed to this game 14-7. So let's look at those scores from the doubleheader. And that first game, Missouri Western would take out the number 6 team in the country 6-3. And then the second game was a longer one, but Rogers State would win it 1-0 after a hit in the top of the 7th inning to end the game there. And so let's look at those stats here. Senior designated player Kennedy Preston, 3 at-bat, 3 hits, 5 RBIs, so good on her on that first game, incredible batting. But you have to give credit to the pitching game from senior Sydney Rader. Gave them 7 hits, but also gave them 7 strikeouts and no walks, forced 10 groundouts, and now she has a record of 10-3 as a pitcher. And second game, both just a defensive battle. Rogers State would take the victory, again, winning run at the top of the 7th. Junior pitcher for Rogers State, Harley Cooley, would finish the game off with her 8th strikeout of the game to even the series 1-1. And sophomore pitcher Ashlyn Finardi also did put a good game, and that's for Missouri Western. She forced 14 groundouts and 5 flyouts. So overall, a very defensive battle in that matchup, and the victory went to Rogers State. And Zach, the softball team is very competitive. It's very fun to watch, as you just saw. You know, the 6th team in the country coming over here and 16-game winning streak, and you know, Missouri Western helped take that out a little bit, and that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and like you said, the fans showed out. The student section went a little crazy talking to the other team, and that's what you want. You want your fans supporting your local team, and they did that well. And like you said, the softball's playing well now. They started off rough, but they've really picked it up recently.
Yeah, and to be able to say that this is your home opener after 21 games and compete against the number 6 team in the country and win, actually, the first game and then only force 1 run to end the second game is incredible stuff. And great work from the softball team.
Yep.
And I was looking to men's basketball in the MIAA play. And the Missouri Western men's basketball team would head to the MIAA tournament as the 6th seed and would face off against the 3rd-seeded Rogers State. Last time these two teams met in the regular season, Rogers State would beat the Griffins 74-54. But this game was a lot closer this time. Let's look at that graphic there. So there you go right there. 59-56 was your final score in the first round there for Missouri Western. And Rogers State would win at the buzzer to end the Griffins season 59-56. Just a sad one to end it, but Missouri Western did have a tough time shooting in this one, Zach.
Yeah, they did. And, man, that buzzer beater was, I mean, watching that back and just seeing the crazy shot that guy hit, I mean, 1 out of 100 shot right there. I mean, most of the time that's not going in. It should have went to overtime, but it is what it is. Like you said, they didn't shoot well, but they played well enough to be in a game against a team that really blew them out the last time they played. Yeah,
and I've seen that's been a common occurrence this year. I've seen a lot of close games coming down to that last final shot for Missouri Western men's basketball. But a big thing, eight seniors. They're all leaving, so that, you know, that's sad news. But you have to look at what they accomplished, right? You know, 8 seniors and 18 wins in the regular season, the most this program has seen in 22 years.
Yeah, and this is the first time in a long time they had a bye in the MIAA tournament. Like we said, it's March. We've talked about it multiple times now on the podcast and here, that it's March, anything can happen, and it proved in this one. And unfortunately, more news came out of Missouri Western as Will Martin has resigned, Charlie. It's very sad to see. Will Martin officially resigned, and Andy Carter, he said, Will is a class act who led our program with love, passion, and integrity. Will Martin finished 77-70, 51-56 in MIAA play, and Charlie, you did a profile on him. You really got to know him this past year. I mean, what do you got to say about this?
Yeah, that one hurt me a little bit. Yeah, I remember when I first saw the news. I was actually about 30 minutes after it came out. I saw it, and yeah, that definitely hurt a little bit. Because I liked him. I loved him, man.
Yeah.
I loved him. It was my first semester here at Missouri Western, first semester covering any collegiate sports, and I went to him, and I interviewed him and learned from him, and he took me in with open arms and helped me learn the game, helped me talk to his players, and really helped me evolve to where I am today. So, yeah, it was sad to see.
Yeah, and I think anyone that has been in media, whether you're a student or if you work with the local news, has nothing bad to say about Will Martin. I mean, he is very about us, getting better as journalists and wanting us to be better. And he was always great during these interviews, and that's what's going to kind of suck going into next year. It's like, I'm looking forward to see who they bring, but just knowing that we're not going to be able to interview Will anymore is going to be a little upsetting. Mm-hmm. Well, let's go ahead and look at what the women did in the MIAA tournament. They played Arkansas Fort Smith in the first round. The Griffins had 4 players in double-digit scoring and propelled to a win by Cassandra Karen, who had 32 points and 13 rebounds. The team also went 24 of 30 from the free throw line. They take a victory in the first round and go on into the second round, where they took on number 9 Fort Hays State, with the Griffins beating them twice during the regular season. Griffins were led by Alyssa Bonilla with 26, and our very own Laura Tafali had 21. The team did not shoot well, and that led to their defeat. As you can see, they won the first game 79-73 against Arkansas Fort Smith, and they lost their second game, unfortunately, 77-73 in a very tight one. They will, as we talked about, this team entered the tournament with a lot of hopes. They played well in the very first game, Charlie, and it didn't end up going how they wanted.
Yeah, let's look at that NCAA bracket. And now Missouri Western unfortunately did lose the MIAA to that second round of Fort Hays State, but they are invited to the Nationals tournament played in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and will be facing Minnesota State. And speaking of that D2 conference, Alyssa Bonilla, D2 Conference Commissioners Association All-Region second team, so congratulations to her. But sticking with that bracket side, we're going to talk about Minnesota State for a second. They're 24-7 headed into the tournament and are labeled as the 5th seed, Missouri Western as the 4th seed. Junior guard Natalia Bremer shoots almost 50% from the court for Minnesota State with a percentage of .415 from the 3, and she's 3 points away from 600 points on the season. And pairing that with her senior guard, Destiny Burst, is also a problem. She has a field goal percentage of .522 with also over 500 points, and those two teams will be playing at 7:30 tonight. And Zach, we saw these two teams met actually last year in the NCAA bracket in 2024. Minnesota State, the 7th seed, and Missouri Western, the 2nd seed. And they faced off, and Minnesota State would beat them. They would upset them there, and they'd actually go on to win the entire bracket. So that was pretty incredible for them. And now it's a rematch year, and you got those two players to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it with the men's. It's March. Anything is going to happen, and it's going to be really fun to watch. I think, we're the higher seed again, but it feels a little different this time, but I still feel pretty confident. It's amazing what Coach Feldhaus has done their very first year.
Yeah, and again, like I said a bunch of times now, but those two players is really the two guards. They got the height, they got the moves, and as you can see, almost shooting 50% from the field alone, and even from the 3. That's incredible stuff for them. So stopping that is really the main focus, and I think we can.
Yeah, and like I said, Coach Feldhaus' first year, everyone thought it was a rebuilding year, and she gets into the NCAA tournament in her very first year. It's incredible what she has done, and it's going to be very exciting moving forward to see what she really does with this program and what they really do the rest of this year.
Yeah, and this team has done a lot, so we really love them. And that's all we have for you this time, folks. My name is Charlie Sample.
And I'm Zach Blanky.
And we'll be seeing you after the break.